Hi, Kenneth B, Blue Collar Guy. So this video is about the bicycle chain, and I'm going to try to keep it as simple as possible because a lot of people just want simple. They don't want all kinds of technical jargon and unnecessary information or over explaining things. They just want to know why. So why do you clean your chain? Well, you clean your chain to keep it from wearing out. Why does a chain wear out? Well, it's not a sealed item. Dirt and things can get inside the chain. It causes the chain to no longer have a round pivot point, which is in here, and then it will, see how dirty it is, and then it will make it more of an egg shape because of the grinding from the back and the forth. And because of that, the chain will essentially stretch. It's not really stretching, it is just wearing out in that the holes are getting bigger from the wear and tear, and then it puts more pressure and the chain just ends up getting bigger and bigger. So that can cause wear and tear on these, because when this gets longer, of course, these are going to have pressure on the sides instead of in the middle, so it's no longer in balance. And it's as simple as that. So if this wears out, this wears out, and so does this. So, and it can also cause damage down to your shifting assembly. So chains, brand new, good chain, can run you about 80 bucks. Some of them you'll find cheaper than that. When you buy a chain, remember that you buy a chain according to how many gears you have. This has 9 gears, so I will buy a 9-gear chain. I will buy a chain that is compatible with my shifter. So this is a SRAM X5. I will buy a SRAM 9-speed chain when I replace it. I won't buy anything else, because if you do, even if it fits, it's going to cause wear and tear on this, which is more expensive, and this is not that expensive but very difficult to replace. You have to take all of this apart. So if you don't want to go through all of that, the simple thing is just buy a compatible chain that's compatible with this and this. Okay, so they will ask you some technical questions like how many teeth, that sort of stuff. You will need to find that information out. It should be in the manual of your bicycle, and then you just get a chain that is compatible with that. Now that's the good news. The good also, chains last about 2,000 miles if you take care of them. That's roughly 4,000 kilometers. Can translate into years depending on how often you use the bicycle. So this chain is obviously dirty, as you can see. You do not want a dirty chain, because dirt gets inside the movable parts of the chain and thus causes them to wear out. Now, why do I have this wire? This wire is to explain what chain line is, because I have seen lots of videos on chain line where they talked about it, but no one has ever, to my knowledge, used a string or a wire. So the chain line is how straight the chain is from here to here. So when you pick a certain gear, the chain will be in a straight line. So if you look at it from straight up and down, the chain is straight across. When I ride this bicycle, I try to maintain a straight chain line. So even though the gear is a more easy pedal gear, the motor's doing work anyway, and it's good for hills. The chain line is straight, which causes less wear and tear on the chain, because if the chain, and if you look at this wire as a demonstration, moves up and down the gears, it puts it on an angle, which then puts pressure on these little joint things here. See? So you don't want that. And when that happens, of course, you will have damage to your chain, and you'll have to replace your chain more often. Now, this is the other reason why I like a hub motor, and this is a geared hub motor as opposed to a gearless hub motor. And a lot of people don't understand the difference between that. Is if you really want to know the difference, is a geared hub motor like this is usually smaller, and it uses a little tiny planetary gears that drive the motor. They're noisier than a gearless hub motor. They can give you a little more torque than a gearless hub motor. However, they require more maintenance, and they don't last as long because there's a lot more moving parts in them. So they look a little nicer. That's why I like them. They can give you more torque, but because there's gears inside here, it can cause more wear and tear. So gearless are usually much bigger. They'll stick out about to here, and they will be a lot quieter, but you won't have the off the line torque that this would give you. So the other type of drive system would be a mid-drive bike, which would be here. So the motor is over here, which means that you have to shift your gears or you're going to wear out your motor very quickly. So if you had a mid-drive bike and you're using this little tiny gear over here, you're going to be wearing out this motor because you've put it in a very difficult gear to move your bike, and it's going to get hot and it's going to wear out very fast, which is one of the reasons why I don't like mid-drive bikes, because I can leave it in any gear I want, not have to worry about wear and tear on my motor. So the advantages of the mid-drive bike is that because you're using the gears in conjunction with the motor, you can tackle things like hills and that sort of thing a lot easier. Now, having said that, you have to clean your chain. So buy a good chain cleaner. This is a Park Tool chain cleaner. They're very expensive. You're looking at $60–70, but I've bought the cheaper ones, and they're a pain in the butt to use. Why? Because this one has a very simple opening and closing method, in that you can just do that, and you put your degreaser, which is this stuff here. I got this at Canadian Tire. Put it in here. You run your chain through it. There's lots of videos on that, so we don't need to, do that per se. And then after you're done that, you let it dry, and then you put your lube on. Now, there are two different kinds of lube. This is wet lube, and this, let me see here, this is dry lube. Okay, what's the difference between this and this? This is if you ride in the rain, you need to repel water, and this is if you do not do that. I made the mistake of buying this because I thought, well, just in case, I'll get this. Bad idea. What's the disadvantage of this? Well, it attracts more dirt. It's very sticky. Yes, it repels water, but it also has the disadvantage of attracting dirt. So if you don't plan on taking your bicycle out in the rain, don't even bother with this. This is the one that you want. Put this on. You count the links. You put 1 drop on each link. I know that sounds tedious, but it's the way you need to do it. You'll see a little link separator. Let me see if I can find it on here. The more expensive bikes will have it. Let me see if I can find it. No. And let me see, where are you? I know you're here somewhere. there it is. Okay, you see that little thing there? That is your link separator. You take the chain on and off. Every time you do that though, you have to replace that because you don't want your chain just to fall off. So count from there, put your drops on. When you see that again, as you put each drop on, then you'll know you're finished. And so yes, when your chain looks like this, clean it. You know, it should be clean enough so that when you wipe your finger across it, it might have little tiny specks of dirt, but nothing else. And that will maintain your chain strength and the overall healthiness of your chain, which will then translate into this being good and everything else working good. So also, when you get a lot of dirt in your chain, it may become noisier. If your chain is rusty, it may be too late for you. If you have a rusty chain on an e-bike, if you bought an e-bike used and this is covered in rust and this is covered in rust, replace all of that. I would recommend replacing it, or at least soaking it. You'll have to take everything apart, you'll have to soak it and try to bring it back. I would probably just replace it myself, just to save myself the added grief. But don't leave your bike outside, and that's one of the reasons, is that it will rust out. These are exposed joints, so it will rust out. So anyways, that's the lesson on cleaning the chain. You get one of these, you fill it up with this. You can even reuse it, by the way. And then when you're done, your chain is clean. There's lots of videos where they actually will clean the chain in front of you. I don't think you need that. This just goes over top like so. You clip this back over top of that, and it sandwiches it in between. Pretty simple. So that is the basic of why we have to clean this. And a lot of videos show you how to do it, but they don't really tell you why. And it's just to save you money. You know, you'll spend a little money now and save a lot of money later. You won't have to replace all this, because you don't have to buy one of those every year. It should be like 80 bucks. And this here, it's not so much the expense, it's the pain in the butt of having to change it all out. And you also don't want to have to damage this. Your gears will shift a lot better if your chain is clean. Bike will be less noisy, it will ride a lot smoother. So this is why you keep it clean, and it is just part of owning a bicycle, whether it be an e-bike or a regular bike. That is just bicycle maintenance. And this is how I maintain the Wolf e-bike Utopia. So Kenneth B, blue collar guy, I'm back, and I just talked about my how to clean the chain, how to use the chain cleaner. And this is what your chain should look like when you're done, nice and clean. So I will let that completely dry before I put on the dry lube, because I am not riding in the rain. So that's as simple as that. I recommend the Park Tool chain cleaner. I've used other ones and they pretty much don't do as good a job, and they're also not very easy to use. Just be careful of those two little metal clips. Let me just grab it and I'm going to show you what I mean. Okay, so these are the metal clips I'm talking about. So when you're clipping it on and off, just be careful, and because if you can see the end there, you can get what they call a spider crack in the plastic. Very nice chain cleaner, but why did they make it out of such a cheaper brittle plastic? I have no idea. You see that little line there that says C clone right there? This little line? Okay, that's where you fill up your degreaser. One thing I left out was that after you're done the degreaser and you get rid of that, then put in just one small drop of dish soap and some water and run your chain through it again. And so degreaser, then the soapy water, and just a little tiny bit of soap. Don't over soap it or you're going to have a hard time getting that soap out of this. So very nice chain cleaner. It takes you like 5 minutes, and you can add more to the liquid to the top, so you can, because it's going to spill out a bit. And then just wipe your chain off, nice and clean, as you can see, compared to the other way. Does a good job. I'll let that dry out. I'll put on the other 1 drop per link, and then I'll be ready for another ride. And if you take care of your bike, it will take care of you, so it will last longer. Anything that's a moving part is going to wear out. So nice thing about a hub motor is, again, if this breaks, if your chain should break, you can still use your hub motor to get home. You'll be under throttle assist only. You'll have to still, with this particular bike, you'll have to push, to get it going a little bit before the motor will kick in, but you will not be stranded if your chain breaks. If you have a mid-drive bike where the motor is here and your chain breaks, and by the way, your chain is more likely to break, so if you have a mid-drive bike, you better clean your drivetrain a lot, because bicycle chain is not a motorcycle chain. It's not as durable. This system here also not as durable as like on a motorcycle setup. It's also not the same setup at all. The gear system is completely different on a motorcycle. So you are going to want to make sure you maintain that. Absolutely. So I recommend that everyone, whether it's e-bike, non-e-bike, mid-drive, hub motor, geared hub motor like this versus non-geared, everybody clean their chain, and you'll be thanking me in the long run. And I hope that this video was as simple as possible, so that even someone that's never thought about doing any of this could go ahead and do it themselves. Because to take your bike in, to have somebody else do this for you, is going to be an added expense. And if you're on a budget, well, you can do it yourself. This little unit here, pricey, but it'll last you for years if you take care of it. The degreaser's not that bad either. But the grief that this would cause you if you had to take this in and replace all of these components would be, plus you're just not going to have a good experience. So love the e-bike, way cheaper than a car. What is it, like 12 cents to recharge it? So yeah, anyways, take care. Again, if you like the video, hit like and subscribe. Thank you. Bye.